So I get a comment like this every now and then on my channel. The Magic Dr. Pancakes, who clearly has a way with words, probably put it best. Of the tens of thousands of movies out there that have faded to complete obscurity, there has to be more gems that have gone unrecognized. And he's right. One of the drawbacks of the democratization of film and its subsequent consolidation is that while more movies are being made than ever before, only the top 1% or so receive any actual recognition or financial success. Is there an economics metaphor in there? I don't know. Politics is confusing. The point is, sticking to tried and true methods generally works more often than not. And Hollywood isn't in the business of telling stories, it's in the business of making money. This isn't some brand new revelation I'm hitting you with, it's common knowledge. It's why every single film analysis on YouTube tends to have the same basic comment written over and over again with slight changes in wording. Hollywood writing is bad, big blockbusters are pointless CGI fests, everything's an unoriginal remake or sequel, yada yada yada, most movies are bad, we get it. Guess what, kiddos? In case you hadn't noticed yet, most of everything in entertainment is bad. Here's why. Nobody likes to swim against the current when it's their money at stake. I mean, they'll watch somebody else do it, they love that. So flicks that are different than the rest of the pack actually tend to get more notice than you think. Ever notice how all those great movies you've never watched lists always have the exact same movies on them over and over again?
Dude, Moon is such an underrated film.
No, it isn't. None of these are. This is a Spielberg film that's shown perpetually on basic cable. This is a cult classic. So's this. Maybe. This made $210 million. Got nominated for 4 Oscars. This one 2. This one 3.
Your lists are bad, and you should feel bad.
So, how about this? Let's talk about a movie that had a small budget, small gross, and small audience. Let's talk about a movie that features a list of big-name talent before they ever hit it big. Let's talk about a movie that stands out but never stood out. Let's talk about Brick. So here's the elevator pitch. A neo-noir directed by the same guy who'd go on to make Looper, a couple of Breaking Bads, and The Last Jedi. Stars a young up-and-coming Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that pregnant girl who killed it in Lost, and this guy who's in like everything but never has enough screen time. A moody, atmospheric mystery film with dialogue straight out of a 1940s hard-boiled detective masterpiece with visuals influenced by Cowboy Bebop. Oh yeah, and the whole thing takes place in high school. I know what you're thinking, that movie doesn't get made, but give it a cheap enough price tag and you better believe it's gonna show up to win a special jury prize at Sundance and get a limited theater release. Brick dropped in 2005, but it didn't splash. Why not? I don't know. Don't care, not a film teacher, you want that, go watch this guy. I'm interested in what makes a film tick, not how it talked. Does that make sense? JGL plays a young Spike wannabe named Brendan. Classic nobody high school loner with a heart of gold and a brain of something witty that I couldn't think of. He gets a note in his locker one afternoon from his ex-girlfriend Emily asking to meet up after school. Heads to the spot, gets a terrified phone call from her, and next thing he knows, she's coming up missing. He sets off on a journey to find out where she's gone, who's chasing her, and why she left him in the first place. So the high school environment, it's a head fake. Brick takes the usual noir story of drugs, deception, and desire, and infuses it in a setting that's totally diametrically opposed to the genre. Sounds crazy, but you know what? It works.
No more of these informal chats either. You got a discipline issue with me? Write me up or suspend me. I'll see you at the parent conference.
This film feels like it was trying to be the dream come true of every slightly to severely cringe-worthy, trilby-wearing teenager with lack of social skills. Not hating on the movie, I like it, but it smartly puts the social outcast in the hero role, and he basically does no wrong during the story. In other words, it's the film noir protagonist played perfectly. Levitt's not winning an Oscar with this thing, but he plays to the type just like the trope calls for. The whole cast does. The brainy sidekick informant disguised as a typical lunchroom nerd. The corrupt bureaucrat disguised as the high school's assistant vice principal. The femme fatale disguised as the flirty and attractive popular girl. The big bad boss fights are jocks and druggies. The low-level gangsters are gothic kids that hang out behind the local donut shop. And the Don? Some 20-something wannabe. Looks like he's 4 credits away from getting his associate's degree in general business management. Not gonna spoil it here because the mystery is half the fun. Only thing I'll highlight is a chase scene that comes about halfway through the flick. You can find the clip elsewhere online, watch it if you want, doesn't spoil a thing. Gives you the best idea of how the film looks and feels. Now I'm not gonna lie, this film's low budget, and in a lot of spots it shows. Made for a little over $400,000, looks more like 40. This isn't a bad thing. The whole thing revolves around high schoolers. So The fact that a lot of it looks like a student film actually kind of sort of weirdly adds to the mystique. This isn't a film that excels by perfection. The tiny quirks are what makes it. It's implausible in places, campy in parts, has its fair share of anime-style tone shift that might make a purely live-action viewer a little confused, but every Toonami-watching freak and geek will feel right at home. Like any film festival darling, it's got some not-so-hot stuff. Sound quality's a little muddied in places. The dialogue style certainly doesn't help things in that respect. Femme Fatale absolutely chews the scenery. It goes just a bit too heavy on that raspy voice thing.
The next I hear, the pin's raging over a certain situation with the Junkim's partial to.
Maybe you dig it, maybe you don't. Brain's a little underused, as is basically everyone besides the hero. Beyond the setting switch, once you realize it's a noir, it's pretty cookie-cutter in parts. When the clues are presented in the film, they could use a little more insight here and there. Not everybody's a hardcore gumshoe. Don't get me wrong, the positives far outweigh the negatives. Brick is great. You want something different than the usual stuff that's churned out in movie theaters? Have at it. But don't expect the diamond without the rough, you feel me? Brick is one of those flicks that I like to refer to as a filmmaker's film. It's more of a proof of concept, that you can take readily available locations, some actors that are still wet behind the ears, a quirky but fun script, and a lean budget, and make something more than worth the price of admission. Might analyze some of the best bits at a later date, might not. Long story short, check out Brick if you want something different, or if you want to take a peek at the early work of some of the guys bringing you the inevitable Hollywood hits of tomorrow. Peace.
Yes?
Calling for details?
For what?
Details about the party.
Who is this? Or I'll hang up.
You don't know me, I'll save you some time.
I know everyone, and I have all the time in the world.
Folly of youth.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you're feeling so inclined, share it with somebody else, and subscribe for more. Or don't. I don't really care.